This video is about I got to get the hell out of here. So I've mentioned in other videos about like what it's like to be chronically homeless or chronically poor, and how basically, in a nutshell, I was living in a trailer for $400 a month, and I had custody of my son, but the child support agency came and suspended my license, and so I had to fight that off. So that meant I had to carry around my son from place to place. Like I'd have to get rides and pay people for transportation, which made it really hard to pay my rent. I even got behind on the rent, even though it was $400 a month, because if I didn't pay the people good for giving me rides, I would have lost the opportunity to have people to give me rides. So I had to pay them pretty good to go to my jobs, and sometimes that meant $25 there, and $25 back to make it worth their while. And by me paying that little bit of extra, it incentivized them, because they were poor too, and they were living in a trailer park, and they would get their checks every month. And what happens is, when you are living in trailer parks around a bunch of poor people, a lot of people get on disabilities and get on government assistance of different types. And so what happens is they blow right through their money. So by me paying them, like, they'd still even do it at the first of the month. They would still, help me out with rides, but especially during the last part of the month when they haven't had any money coming in, they were highly incentivized to go ahead and give me a ride. And so that is how it worked for me to get around. So now yeah, I even got behind on rent because of it. So what happened is, 1 year later, the child support enforcement came and suspended my license after a year. By this time, my son had already been living with me for a year, and then the following year they suspended my license. And then a year after that, the owner of the trailer park sold the trailer park, and the new owners said they were going to demolish the trailer and tear it down, so that they were terminating my lease so that they could put new homes up. So then I immediately had to move out and go stay at the Salvation Army, and stayed there for 7 months. Then I went and got during that time, some of you already know all this stuff. During that time, while staying at the Salvation Army, I continued to fight the child support case for the alleged debt that I allegedly owed. And then at the same time, I was also fighting a separate case where my son's mother, her kids were discovered to have drugs in their system, and those kids got taken away. And because we share a child together, basically, and my son because we shared a child together, they kept us on the case, me and my son, for like a year and a half. So, which I know to most people that doesn't make sense, but if you understand how corrupt the system is and these agencies are, then it makes total sense. And they are indeed 100% factually corrupt. So now my situation is, okay, so I move into that apartment because I didn't have time to look for places or make money, because the whole time I didn't even have a license. There was no way I was going to make money and save up enough money to get out of to get stable so that I could keep moving forward. Let's say I had been able to spend that 7 months working and saving money, which I didn't get to do because I'm working on these cases. Let's say that I got to stay 7 months and work and save money, then yeah, I'd probably have some money saved up and some means to get ahead and to kind of be stable, and I could have probably stayed at this apartment. But it was time to move. I had to get out of the Salvation Army. I had about a week or two to get out, and right at that time I found this apartment, and I got lucky because that owner, just I was at the right place at the right time. It was a independent owner situation. The years of litigation I've been through, and the years of litigation with the chronic poverty that I've endured has, resulted in me having bad credit at this point. And so I just can't rent from anybody. I have to get lucky and find a homeowner. So I live at this apartment, and it's way too expensive. In fact, when I moved out of the Salvation Army, I was fortunate enough to have somebody help me with like my first 2 weeks rent. And then I had 2 weeks to come up with the first $1,500. This was a 1-bedroom apartment for $1,500 a month. But it was the only place I could go. I did not have any family or friends I could go stay with until I get on my feet. So that meant I'm already in trouble. Like at the moment I moved in, I'm already in trouble because I still don't have a truck. The same moment that I moved in, though, I finally beat the system and got the license back immediately once I figured it out, and I called them out on their fraudulent activity. I immediately, they didn't say anything. They just sent me a note stating that my license was reinstated, and that was 1 year and 7 months for that. So by this time I'm in financial shambles. I'm in ruins. I have no money. I borrowed money for the first two weeks rent, and then that meant I had 2 weeks to come up with $1,500 and pay that money back. So then I had to go get another loan from somebody else for $1,500 for that first month's rent. And it wasn't until 10 days later, January 10th of 2023, that I got my truck back. So that meant I had 20 days to come up with $1,500 plus $500 to start making payments back on that loan for $1,500. So this made 2023 a hectic year, constantly in the hole, constantly with barely no money. It still amazes me how people believe that this notion, this idea that if I just go get a job at a warehouse somewhere or a landscaping company, that somehow that will resolve the issue. And the idea is that if I do this and then just go work part-time at Burger King in the evenings, then that should cover everything. No, it's not the way it works. Those jobs will not cover everything. That's why I have to work for myself so that I can actually pay to live. If I were to do it the other way, even recently, someone tried to hook me up with a landscaping company, and I thought, I even called the company, and I was like, thinking about it, I'm thinking, this company is going to start me off between 13 and 18 an hour. I have no money. The springtime is starting, and all these customers of mine are calling me in right now to do jobs. And it would be stupid. I had to bite that off. My bad. It would be stupid for me to go work for the landscaping company, because after taxes, they're going to take out like 13% taxes from my check. And when they take that out, that's going to leave me with like maybe like $10 to $12 an hour, $10 or $11 an hour after taxes. There's no way you can survive off of that, starting from zero. And so I'm glad I opted to go with my customers, because I've been paid tremendously more than I would working at a company or a warehouse. Plus, I need the flexibility to take my son to school. And now I'm stuck in this situation with this lady. And I've always talked about how when you are impoverished like this, it comes with a price. When somebody helps you, it's never somebody's just out of the kindness is going to help you. Usually the people that help you are people that have underlying agendas, whether it be for their ego or whatever it may be, to keep you trapped. Maybe they're dysfunctional people to keep you trapped. And that is the situation I'm in right now. I'm trapped. Now I can up and leave, but I gotta also, before I just up and leave, weigh in the factors and consider all the variables, because this lady is so off her rockers. She's so off mentally. Her brain can't think beyond her nose. She can't see past the present moment. She can't think laterally. She only thinks in a cut and dry, right now kind of way. And she's also told me that her boss, and she's like got this huge position over this big company, and they go worldwide. She travels worldwide to different countries sometimes, and she's in charge of some kind of coordinating some kind of movement of some kind of product. And she told me her boss is so like on to her that if she gets up from her desk to go to the bathroom and her boss rings her and she doesn't pick up, her boss will angrily tell her that where were you? Why weren't you at your desk? And she is the disgruntled manager that I always talk about, and the reason why I stopped working for other people. The way she acts as a result of that, because I always talk about that, the disgruntled managers that hate their jobs and then they bring it to the employees. And they just dump all of their negative energy onto the employees. Well, this lady is the walking embodiment, one of the worst cases I've ever seen. And she has told me that I can come stay at her house for a little while. And I'm going to make a separate video about that. But it has turned into a tremendous nightmare, in my opinion. where she now thinks that, you know, I'm basically the trade-off. I'm looking into the future, and I'm already seeing that the trade-off is she gets to basically, if I allow it, she gets to treat me like shit, and gets to she gets to treat me like shit, and and I'm supposed to be like this obedient guy around her house that does things around her house, like, and she gets to treat me rudely, and I'm gonna tell you right fucking now, I'm not taking that shit at all. I have a certain way that I do things that some people are in disagreement with. I grew up with an alcoholic dad that was always in my face, so I was always forced to remain calm and collected whenever my dad would get in my face. And then I'd go to these grimy schools around these obnoxious, parasitical spawn that attend public schools, and have to be around them treating you bad because you show up to a school with bad clothes on that don't look good. And I've had to learn a lot of patience, and also I've had to learn how to meticulously analyze the situation, as well as figure out like what the next steps are to navigate through. And I'm gonna just tell you, like, right now, I've had to be really patient because I've got a son and I have to play the optics game, and I can't let this just up and leave and let this lady go, oh, so where are you taking your son? Like, if you're just going to up and leave, I got to consider these variables. If you're just going to up and leave, y'all better not be staying out that Walmart parking lot or something like that, if she would say something like that. So anyways, I have to consider those variables. But this is turning into a horrible situation that I'm in now. You know, I'm frankly, I'm in a situation I can't really do nothing about it until good luck comes along. And you could conclude that this living situation is the good luck that comes along. However, when you're poor, the only people that want to help you, as I've mentioned before in other videos, are dysfunctional people. You always run into it. And I'm living it. I'm living the reality of what I'm talking about. And so I'm always right. I know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to get my laundry started, and then I'll make another video about that situation. And I don't know what I'm going to say in it, but I have to get out. I have to get out of the situation as soon as possible. I need to get into a situation where I'm free to make my own schedule on my own time, get things done on my own time, and live life and be free from dysfunctional people. But that's the caveat. Is that the right word? That's the thing. If you're going to live like this and there's no way out, if you have to live like this and there's no way out, then you're always going to run into dysfunctional people that are energy suckers, basically. And I got to get out because it's turning crazy. It's getting crazy. And I've spent my whole life trying to escape this shit. And I'm here in another dynamic where it's a disgruntled manager that hates their life and trying to treat me like an employee. I have a business. There's a reason why I stopped working for other motherfuckers. Thanks for watching.